I have been doing audio since maybe 13, 14 years. So I know what mic you should use. And I have tested many mics. So that is why I'm here to tell you. There are some experts about audio. I know that. But I wanted to give you this session because I have multiple mics. I know what the meaning is. So I'm going to give you the info. A lot of people use maybe a Blue Yeti, for example. That is a $100 mic. Pretty good mic. But right now, the Blue Yetis are actually bad. Logitech bought them a couple years ago, and ever since then, the products have been bad. You could buy a $25 mic, and that could sound even better, or even the Samson Q2 here. And now I'm going to be talking about the Samson Q2U. That is a wonderful mic. It's a mic that I love so much. It's $50. It has XLR and USB. XLR, you can adapt. You can use a mixer or a Focusrite. These are $100. A wonderful device for the starter creator or a musician or anyone, or even a mixer. Now, I don't recommend mixers anymore. For streamers, if you're just getting started, I recommend the Rodecaster and the Zoom, but I'm not recommending something like this, a Mackie board. The reason is, that's more complicated. You want plug and play, and you want great sound. So that's why I would recommend the Focusrite or the Zoom PodTrack or one of those, because those are so much easier. Some people don't know how to use a XLR mic. They don't know how to use gain. They are just confused. So that's why I would recommend something simple. But if you know how to use one, or you grew up like someone that grew up in the 80s or in the music scene, like Laura, she has a mixer. That's different because she knows how to use it, but she's having trouble with it. And that's why, if you're starting out and you want a great sound, a Focusrite, a Rodecaster would be easier, or the PodTrack. The Samson Q2U will last you for years. The reason I'm telling you that the Samson Q2U is great is it gives you the flexibility. So if you're just getting started, you can use USB. And over time, you can use it. And pretend you're a stand-up comedian, like Marga. She's a stand-up comedian. She uses... she could use one for her streams, and then you can just plug it into a board. So if you had a speaking engagement, or if you're at a concert, you're a singer. Sometimes you might be a singer, and you want a good quality mic, and you want the same sound, and you can do post-processing and all that stuff when you get to the other levels. So that's what I would recommend for an audio interface. And I could go deeper, but hopefully you're understanding it. Use what you have. And I'm going to tell you, if you have a Blue Yeti, okay, that's great. But you need to dial in the settings. You have to actually make the right settings. That is important to get a great sound. And you need to dial it in. So if you want a better sound from the Yeti, you might have to EQ it or something like that. So you would need to actually use Loopback if you're on a Mac, and you put maybe a gain or something like that. That will help you to make better sound out of your interviews. So it doesn't sound complete garbage, and you have to dial it in, and maybe you have to watch some tutorials, but hopefully that is helping everyone. The shotgun mic is more for Hollywood. So when you see a movie and it's so big and fancy and all that, that is a shotgun mic. And I have used one of the best shotgun mics, the 416. That's $1,000. Now, you shouldn't be spending that kind of money because you're not actually making money from the content yet. But if you're making films or short films, whatever you are doing, you could invest. And I would recommend, if you start out with a Samson Q2U and you realize, hey, I'm doing this interview show and I'm on the street, but I don't want to have an XLR cable and all that stuff. So I would recommend the Samson Q2U as a first starter. And then maybe you grow into it and you want better sound. I would recommend a SM58 or a Sennheiser. The clearness, and you can buy those for like $100, so you can use multi-purpose mics. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. Like, you shouldn't use a mic for a lot of things, but there's only a couple mics that you could use for an in-person event or an interview. So, dynamic mics. I love these. These sound great on drums, vocals, interviews. Those mics, you have to eat the mic. And I say eat the mic! Yeah, literally, you don't. But I mean, you have to be very close to the mic to get the best sound. A lot of people use those mics. Sounds great. You can use them in the studio. It sounds natural. So you can have any voice. You can have a deep voice, a high voice, whatever, and it sounds better. Now, there's a lot of plosives like pa, 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 duh, duh, duh. Like, it's going to be really close. So you would need like a pop filter. A pop filter will help. That mic can be used multi-purposely. But a shotgun mic, you can't. If you want to use a shotgun mic, you have to put it maybe 4 inches out of frame, and you can't be in a noisy environment. It picks up everything. And that's why a lot of professionals, and I don't recommend it for a lot of people, because you need to have it soundproof. But you could hear a lot, and sometimes people don't know how to mic place it. But I'm using a Slate ML2. That is a wonderful mic. That is $150. Great mic. It's really close to me, and it's out of the shot. So you want a good dialed in, and you need a nice rim. So, yeah. Now, I'm going to go on to condenser mics. Those are live vocal mics for a studio. If you're doing a studio session, maybe you have a studio singer, that is the mic that you want. It picks up everything. Just as an example, a Rode NT1, a beautiful mic for $300. It sounds amazing. And condenser mics has more of a detail, but it picks up every single detail. So if you have a fan or a loud noise, it picks it up. So that's why you would need soundproof. That's why you shouldn't use it. But if you have the space, you can soundproof everything, and that will make it better. You can have a better audio for your interviews. And that's why I created this conference, to teach you how to make better interviews. I want to help everyone. I want to share my knowledge and teach people and how to be a superstar. I want everyone to be a superstar. I'm not joking. If you master the audio and you would use your phone as an example, or the new iPhone or the new Samsung, I bet you everyone in your pockets has a great phone that will look as good as this camera setup. Now, you're saying, oh my gosh, you have so many mics, you have so many computers, I started content creation almost 7 years ago. So I started with a built-in mic and built-in webcam. And I grew. And even though I had the tech, I didn't use it because I didn't know how to use everything. But I grew and grew, and I learned and learned, and now I'm here. But I bet you have a wonderful camera, and you can use Epoch Cam or Ecamm or any of these apps that are a little paid because you give them more control. And you can actually get a wonderful blurred background from these apps now. So hopefully that helps. And then I say turn off all of your lights, even though you don't maybe have a light. Find a lamp or find any light source that's not up there. You could get an old lamp that you're not using. I helped a friend, Reese. I was there at his house the other day. He was going to help me. Some other things happened, but we turned off the lights. He had just a couple lights that weren't in the ceiling, and he saw a difference. And this was from a GoPro. He had a GoPro, and you saw a difference. Or even the face camera on the computer. It looks so much better. So, yeah. Next is wireless mics. Wireless mics. A lot of people use wireless mics for interviews. Wireless mics are amazing, but sometimes the audio drops out and you have no sound. You don't want that for an interview. So you want a sturdy mic that sounds amazing. So I would recommend a Rode Wireless Go. That's maybe $200 now, and that sounds amazing. Now, I'm gonna say, wireless mics have improved so much. I'm not even joking. The technology has improved so much. There's no dropouts anymore. Usually. So the Rode Wireless Go is nice. Saramonic makes a good one. The Saramonic Blank. Samson. Those are the best of the best brands for microphones. And the reason I'm recommending you all these mics is you can have options. And the reason I'm telling you that you need a Rode Wireless Go or any of these is because you have wireless compatibility. So you could be 100 feet away, or not 100 feet, but it's going to help a lot. So if you're doing an in-person video at VidCon 2022, or People of Video, or Vid Summit, you will have a great wireless system. So that is another option, but I would actually recommend a dynamic mic because it cuts out all of the audio. The reason I'm telling you the SM58 is a wonderful mic, even though it's $100. You're gonna say, oh my gosh, this is $100. Oh, this is not good. It sounds pretty good, but also this mic has been under a truck. There's video footage of the SM58 being rolled under a truck using as a hammer, and it still works. And nightclubs use it, and I have mics that have dent. This mic is sturdy, and also the Samson Q2U, and the reason I love the Samson Q2U is you can upgrade to that from later, but that mic is only $50, so you can buy 2 of those mics for under $100, and you would have a wonderful sound. Now, you're going to say, how do you get the audio from the SM58 or whatever mic you're using? The Zoom H recorders are great. Also, you could use a Focusrite. And they also make, like, XLR. that is built into the cameras. You could use that those preamps are pretty good and you can get one, but also you can always use your Focusrite. So I bet you, if you're going to a conference, maybe you want to do a live stream, so you could always bring your camera or your computer even. This is what I would be doing, and use your Rodecaster or whatever you are using. That's my recommendation to you, because you already have most of this gear. And you don't have to spend a dime if you already have this gear. So, yeah. This is a secret tip. If you're a broke college student, or even a person that is like, oh my gosh, I want to do an interview, but I don't have money. You take your phone and use the voice recording app. That has a beautiful mic. If you go like, hello, I'm interviewing someone so-and-so. Even if you're using a older smartphone or anything, you can use that. Sounds amazing. Sounds better. Sounds better than the tinny camera mic. Maybe you have a $4,000 camera, or even a Canon from a couple of years ago. Takes pretty good video and the audio is trash. You just have to sync 1, 2, 3, and then record. Sounds amazing. And you should use the setting on the iPhone if you're using voice memos. You can use uncompressed audio, and uncompressed audio sounds amazing. And this is another tip for you. You can use your headphones that you already got from your iPhone. You could use your $10 AirPods. Sounds pretty good, but you could always use the included headphones that you have that came with your phone. You could plug that in and just do that. So much better audio, and you can post-process that. And you're not going to have a bad stream anymore. You can have better audio. You can have better video. Thank you for listening to me. And you trust that I know what I'm talking about. Because I bet you're saying, Sammy is... How old is he? And he's telling you this. I bet you I'm right. Or not, I bet you, but I mean, I know a lot, so.
I have a question, Sammy. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, totally. Thank you.
So when you say that mics are only going to last for X number of years, is that more of a software issue, or is that more of the technology somehow wearing out in the mic?
Technology plus how careful you use it. That's why I'm saying that.
Gotcha. Thanks.
This is just an example. And yeah, hardware innovations too. Because hardware is going to change so much. Yeah, that's what Victor. This is a thing. This is maybe 13-year-old audio interface that has 8 inputs. And some of you old Mac people know what FireWire is. FireWire. This still works. But the technology is so old and you don't really have a lot of computers. So you never know. The old USB should work. But that's why. And also sometimes I say the evolutions, but even if you have an XLR mic, you can keep that for a long time. This session is gonna be with Anna and Fulgence. They are the wonderful people that host ENN, Building Blocks, and much, much more. So I'm really excited to have them on. So let's get started. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing awesome. We're so excited to be here. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Okay. So, first question, right? How many of you have already started designing inside of eGam Live, the app? So as you guys know, Ecamm Live now, you can design using text overlays and you can make wonderful designs, whether it is camera overlays or lower thirds, call to action. You can actually make
Yeah.
brand your interviews, brand all of your designs, bring your logo in, and basically use Ecamm Live as your graphic editor. Right? So we're gonna teach you how to go simple, how to make your live streams, your interviews look good, how to make your guests feel really good, like they are in a professional live stream. So we get a lot of our interviewees, they go like, oh my gosh, I feel like I was in the news and things like that. So that's a good feeling for them. They leave your stream feeling so good about themselves. So this is what we're going to teach you today, how to design inside of Ecamm Live.
So let's start with a simple one because there's some who do not know about the app designing yet. So we just start from the beginning, how to start just designing lower third, simple lower third, right? So this right now, so this was designed inside of Ecamm Live. The only thing that we brought over was the background, but you can design a solid background or even a pattern background inside of Ecamm Live. What we designed was the lower third. So if we go through, if we break it down.
We'll go into live demo mode here. This way you can see our overlays and how we laid this out.
Yeah. So if we break it down, we go to the right here. So we see we have two folders. So we have the lower third body, which is right here. And then we also have the text, which is right here, right? So you will see that the way this right here, we're going to take the text off and then we're going to just leave you with the body. So let's take step by step. So the really cool thing about designing inside of Ecamm Live is that you can make quick changes without having to get out of the app, right? So for example, we have on this right here, these are two shapes. So this lower third is composed of three shapes, a rectangle, two rectangles, and one semicircle, and a lot of other things that you will see now. So right here, if we take this off, it turns into this cool shape right there because we have a couple of shapes behind it. So this is a diamond right here. And this is another diamond shape. So we're going to take this one off and leave you with this one. So see, it's really subtle, but you can see one has a really sharp edge and the other one doesn't. And then we have the semicircle. So we're going to hide that. So you see just the two rectangles, and then we're going to enable the semicircle. And those are the shapes that you can create. Look at how simple, right? That is.
Right.
And yeah,
and for those of you who are not aware, these shapes are found in your emoji keyboard, right? So all of these shapes are native in your keyboard. You have the little emoji, the smiley face here, show emoji panel. And this is where you can access, all your emojis that are native to Mac OS. And in addition to that, you have wingdings and you have bullets and things of that nature, right? Currency symbols. So this is where you can find shapes such as brackets and triangles and circles, and you can use them, right? And if they're colored white, you can change the color of them.
And so sometimes if you're going to start from, you're going to first start in designing these that we just showed you right now, especially the Latin, the parentheses and pictographs, they are not installed. So it will ask you to download it and you just have to say yes, and then it will download. Sometimes it goes behind the Ecamm window and you just have to minimize the Ecamm window and then enable the download, and you will have all of them available for you to do it.
The lower third body is actually text, right? So if you type out text and you can create this rectangle, for example, right? So we're going to highlight this one and notice that this looks like a solid rectangle. But if we highlight this here, right? We typed out, for example, lower third body to give it this long, lengthy shape. And you highlight background here, and then you change the color. But then you can lower the opacity of the font itself, and you get this solid rectangle.
Okay, so that was that one. So this is for when you have your guests and your guests have certain points, right? So they're covering certain things, whatever it would be, like how to master your interview. So they were going to have steps 1, 2, and 3 or tips. So you can design things like this, right? Inside of it. So this is a little bit more simple, and you can have tips, points and all of that for your guests to feel really good. So this is us, and then in the bottom it will be your guests, and then we will be queuing it up for them to make them feel really good, and they will have their points right there, and they won't have to be looking at notes or off the screen. So this is another great thing that you could do to make your guests feel really, really nice when they come to your streams. Mhm.
Right. So, these are like, if you want to, like, do bullets and things like nature, but let's say you don't have any bullets and you just want to highlight yourself and your guests and do, a standard traditional interview.
Mhm.
You can do something like this where we're solo and then you have a lower third come in like this, right? So again, this is like a rectangle, and then another rectangle underneath, and we have these brackets from the emoji keyboard and another rect and I'll find like on Unfulgence and building blocks. So, and these are categorized in two different folders: lower third text and lower third body, right? And then let's say we're bringing in Sammy. Sammy comes in on the next scene. Basically, you duplicate the lower third and you basically change to the text, right? And then if you want to do interviews side by side, we do something like this, where you use the text background to fill out the back of your screen. And you could add a little highlight on this off to the side.
If once you follow all of the organizational tips and make sure that you follow the folder hierarchy and organizing of the layers, this is really simple to the side.
Right.
Mhm.
So if we go into live demo mode again, as you can see, like, we like to organize our folders with all this text. You can add animations to them, right? So we have here style, they're all flying in from the left, but you have other animations, auto from the right, from the bottom, from the top, to add more pizzazz to your overlays and your lower thirds.
The first thing you need to do is create your folder.
There's two ways you can do this in Ecamm. Let's zoom in here.
You want to bring it closer so I can help
This
you?
one here.
I'm your
you go.
surgeon assistant.
The surgeon assistant,
Mhm.
right? So there's a button here, a new group. You can just click on that. Or if you like keyboard shortcuts, you can do Shift Command End.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll do Shift Command End.
Yes, Shift Command N brings your create a folder for you.
Right.
So we right now created the scene, we named the scene, and then we created the folder on the overlays panel and named it so
Right.
that we could have.
Mhm.
Mhm.
All right. Right. And then, as we mentioned, that the body of the lower third is a text overlay, right? So there's two ways you can add a new text overlay. There's a button down there, which is the T, new text overlay. So you can click on that. Or the shortcut for that is Command N. An easy workaround for this, you want to create a rectangle, just type rectangle. And now that you have the length of your shape, you can go ahead and click on background here, right? And then now you have this. We don't need the shadow. We can remove the shadow, right? And then the text here, we are going to make sure that opacity is set to 0 because we don't want the font. So let's make that disappear. All right, so that's gone. And then the background, we can pick any color. And then we have this rectangle here, and it's very flexible. So if you notice the two-way arrow here, you can just take that from the side and just pull it up right like that, right? It's very flexible, right? So this now you have like a standard body for your lower third. You can get fancier. You can add some more stuff to it. For example, we can duplicate this and add kind of like a drop shadow, right? And do something like this, right? So we have two shapes here on the lower third body, right? And then just to know that they're in the appropriate folder, you can just click on the eyeball and notice that they're hidden, right? And then let's bring them back. Make sure that you lock in your overlays because you don't want these things to move around, right? So just hit the lock button. But if you're happy with this lower third body, we can just like type our names here. And don't worry that it's blank because what Ecamm does, it defaults to the last setting. So the last setting, the opacity was 0. So the opacity is still 0 here. But if we click on white, there it is. Oh, you're not AA battery, you're Anna. So let's change that.
I could be double A
Yeah.
batteries. I mean,
Right. So we have the text here. And
what
having
we
a
could
snap in
do?
place. Go ahead.
Since we're kind of copying that, we can make the and script.
And script, right? But before we do that, let's make sure we're organizing our folders, right? So let's take Unfulgence, drop it into lower third text. All right, so that's there. So as Anna mentioned, we're going to take the and let's find a nice script for it. So now we have our standard lower third. Now speaking of fly-ins, we could add some fly-ins to this.
We can.
Right. So let's take our name here, and then we can add flying from the left. Rectangle 1, flying from the left, and bottom rectangle, double click that and flying from the left, and save. Right. So now if we go back to, let's say we just go back to the scene because we want to trigger the Anna Unfulgent main scene, and check that out. Boom.
Let's go into full get out of demo mode.
Mhm.
Right here. So we're right here, right? Okay. There we go.
Yes. All right. So let's
That's
do that
looking
one more
good.
time. Let's go to where was this? We're in this lower third one here, and let's go back to Unfulgent Spain. Right, and it just flies in automatically.
Very cool.
And we have these two folders here. Let's create a new group, right? And then let's just put lower third left, right? And then we're gonna take this one and this one and drop them in there. And then, for example, let's say we just had the Unfulgence text in the lower third body like so, and then now we can move everything. Okay, so one folder, lesson learned, right? But now that you have everything in one folder, let's
But anyway, so this is it, right? So this is what you design one, then you copy the other one, and you already have your thing that you can actually move this to another scene if you wanted to, if you just wanted to have this same overlay all be all copacetic, right? To be the same thing. You bring it to another blank scene, copy this and bring it to another one.
Yeah.
And do that stuff. But this is the simple, looking good, design inside of Ecamm.
Yes.
And now your word is bells and whistles. Because like if we had a bell and you had a whistle, it would be like
Ding ding and
yeah. And then we like covered perfect sound effect.
With that said, thank you, Savvy. Thank you, everyone. This was great.
This is
The
amazing.
hour went by so fast.
It did. It did. But you can find, if you have any other questions, probably you can get your answer from some of our videos on YouTube.
Yes.
If not, you can email us at annainfulgence
Yeah.
at gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked out the new Ecamm Live 3.10, we have a video that's highlighted on our YouTube channel that goes over our the favorite overlay features and automated scenes, which we did not cover at all.
Yeah, we couldn't.
Automated scenes is awesome. Yes.
Yeah. So Sammy, thank you so much for having us here.
Yeah.
We're so proud of you.
Yes.
Thank
we
you.
are.
Yeah.
I had such a fun time. So now, thank you to the people that were watching on the YouTube stream. We're going to end it and we're going to have more of the session. That was just a preview. Remember, you can buy your tickets by